Hey, thanks for stopping by and watching my YouTube page, for checking out my YouTube channel. Doing a review today on this big guy right here. This DeWalt LED tripod. The model is the DCL079 Bravo. So it's DCL079 Bravo. A tripod LED light. This thing is a beast. So there's going to be two parts in this video, so you'll see I actually will put a battery in it and turn it on, etc. And go over the different battery sizes that we're using it. The 60 volt flex, which is a 6AH, a 5AH, a 3AH, and even go down to a 1.5. So a couple things I want to mention. A lot of these YouTube reviews that I do see online with tools, to be honest with you, the tools look spotless, never used. I have once in a blue moon I do unboxing videos. The only time I really do an unboxing video when it's something that's new on the market, something that's new release, and I'm like, hey, check it out, and that kind of moment. But I don't really like to do those type of videos other than in those instances because a couple different reasons. Two, I may give a first impression, and my opinion may change after using it for an extended period of time. So I want to make sure that that once I've actually saying, hey, promote this product, or say yay or nay, or whatever the fact may be, that I have an honest opinion of it, and I've been using it for a while, and if there's been any issues with it. So I've had this, let me check on this date real quick. Wow, so I just looked at the receipt. I actually bought it on 2/10/2019, so it's 2/24/2020. So I've had this thing almost a year. I paid $179.99 for it. So yeah, $179. And I originally wasn't actually going to purchase this. I was going to purchase a different light, which I will show you in the other video. I have the two larger DeWalt lights. You'll see in the video as well. And so I went to purchase one. I was kind of disappointed because the other light wasn't there. And I said, oh, I needed a light because we're doing some night jobs. And unfortunately, there were some instances where some guys passed away by getting hit by traffic last year. So I wanted to be cautious and have people see me and be able to see what I was doing. So this is why I purchased this light. So what I was saying before is that, these people, you can see they're obviously doing these reviews, and they look spotless. They don't even look like they're used. They're either going online and they're reading the specs off of it, or they're looking at somebody else's YouTube video and then basing a assumption upon that. But when the tool looks brand spanking new, it doesn't have a spot of dirt on it. In reality was they weren't really using it. So when I give you a review and I say something about it, when Rick's 2 cents, it's really my honest opinion. I really used and abused this tool and put it to a full test. So I'm going to read you some specs. So here's the specs that I think that are important to know. Let's see here. So one thing is actually the fully extended. This is up to 7 feet, so that's pretty awesome. It is one solid LED, and the aluminum is 3,000 lumens. And they say the battery can actually run over 11 hours. So how long has it really lasted for me? It really depends on the battery you're using. The 60 volt, the 5AH, the 6AH, which is the 60 volt, the 5AH, 3AH. So I personally always just put a 60 volt flex. I've never had it last 11 hours. Maybe 11 hours if you were to put it on the lowest setting. Personally, when I'm working in the middle of the night, it's 3 o'clock in the morning. This thing's on the brightest it can be because I'm using it because I need to see what I'm doing, and I want you to see me. I don't want to be a casualty, that you're not seeing me or you see me last minute. So I kind of just want to, say some of the things I've used this for. I use it for manhole entry so you can see inside. It really frees your hands up so you're not using a flashlight or some kind of body light. And it illuminates the light enough that it actually lights up even a double wide manhole. So it's really nice. Doing aerial work in a bucket truck or doing work in a scissor lift or something like that. On the ground, 32, 50 feet, 60 feet in the air, it's still bright as can be. So that's really, really awesome. Used it at home a lot for some projects, doing electrical work in certain areas of my house. I didn't have electric at the time. I was doing drywall, things like that, running electric wires, putting in conduit with no electric in that side of the house. And this thing is phenomenal. Using it at home, using it at work, I don't know, it's awesome. Pretty much everyone who has been with me in the field, in the industry that I'm in, and they have personally used my light, one of the first questions they ask is like, damn man, how much did you pay for that thing? And you know why? It's because they're going to go buy one. And the fact that it's been a year, and I've been beating on this, thrown in the back of my truck, thrown it in the cab, you know, thrown in the back seat, and it's still working as good as conditions the day I bought it. And the other thing is, they don't say it's waterproof, but I tell you what, it's definitely water resistant, because we've been working out in a storm, and I'm like, man, I don't really want to pull this thing out. It's expensive, but you know what? I need the light, I need to see, and it's pouring rain, and this thing just worked like a beast. And it does have some aluminum here that's for the heat dissipation. So I don't notice that this thing is getting really hot. It does really, really well as far as dissipating heat for that. So let me jump back into this video. So let me show you some of the images that I've done. You know, and like I said, buy it. The thing is it's a beast. It's not really heavy. It's not really big. It can be misleading when you see it. You're like, but I guarantee, man, if you looked at this, you're gonna see spots for a couple minutes. So actions prove louder than words, right? So you want to see how it actually works. So it's really sturdy. I like this because if you actually threw this in the back of your pickup, I don't think it'd get, you know, it got pretty banged up, but what I'm trying to say is that I think it's durable enough that it won't actually, you know, break it. You know, extremely durable, really, really thick plastic. You know, I was nervous about, you know, throwing this in my truck to ruin it. You see this other light over here in the background? This is actually what I wanted to buy, and I couldn't find it anywhere, so I got this, and I was disappointed, thinking, oh man, I got this, and I really wanted that. In actuality, I use this way more often than I use that. This pretty much stays in my house, but this is something I use in the field on a regular basis. So this gray button here just expands it out. Goes here. Then it actually has two clamps on the back side here that hold the two different bars. So there's this first bar that's only about this height, clamp that in, and then there's a second bar that allows it to go, and then there's a pivot that's actually on the top, so you can pivot it in any direction that you want it to, you know, and then obviously you can turn it in a different direction. And it has three separate settings on this button, a soft push button that you can adjust the lights to. It's a little dim in this video, and it's a little dim for a reason, because I don't want to make the video look crazy once I actually put a battery in here. So you go ahead and see this. Once you put a battery in here, honestly don't look in here. Like, it's that bright enough that you'll see spots for a while. So if I had a 60 volt flex battery, this is the battery that I would use. It does draw a lot of battery power. If you want to last, you're going to need one of these guys. So not to say that you couldn't use a 20 volt, one of these guys, or go down to a 3AH, or even a 1.5 AH. So the one thing that's cool about this light, what I would say, if you have a battery that you're not using often, and you want the battery to last longer, I would suggest, even though I'm saying use a 60 volt, if you want to drain the battery all the way down really quick, throw one of your other batteries in it. It's not gonna last at all. It's gonna completely kill that battery. But then you're able to cycle that battery, and it's gonna make that battery last a lot longer. So if that's something you want to, you need to kill a battery, drain it down. You want to use a 5AH, a 3AH, 1.5 AH. But I would suggest, if I was gonna put a battery in it, I would put a 60 volt flex, the 20 volt 6AH into it. On the highest setting, I would say I get an hour and a half, 2 hours maybe. And like I said, I'm using this for numerous things: manholes, going different handholds, doing aerial work up on a scaffold, doing aerial work up in a bucket truck, doing things in my own home, things in the backyard. I mean, just endless things that I've been using this for. This is like my go-to light, and this is the other guy when I'm actually, running down in the field. So if you're interested in these two lights, I'm going to actually post a link when I do the reviews. I'm going to do reviews on these two lights as well. But let's focus on what this one is. This guy here. So where you put the battery in is down here at the bottom. So let's go ahead and throw a battery in here so you can see how bright this guy actually looks. See what I'm talking about? And this is actually kind of during the day, you can see in the background. So it's not really doing it justice, but I do have photos. Me using this in the field, so you can see how bright this actually is. And this is, I'm gonna probably mess up the lens. This video is probably gonna look horrible now, but that's the point. It is extremely, extremely bright. So let me having a hard. I'm seeing spots now. Here, hold on. So that's the highest, medium, lowest. You know, and then it does have a solid LED bulb that's in there. So highly recommend. I think this thing's a beast. I love this durability. I love that it doesn't take up a lot of space, that you can easily break it down. One thing I did notice is sometimes this comes a little loose. That's only 2 Phillips screws here on the side. You tighten it up, give it a little more tension. But other than that, I've been using this light for over a year. So, and consistently on a regular basis. So the bulb's still been bright as it was the day I got it. And other than adding some dirt to it, and like I said, you know, sometimes my tools, they really take a beating, and you know, that's why you buy quality tools, because you know they're going to take a beating. You know, it's maintained, it's conditioned. You know, it's made it through the field test. So, and even the other guys using my light as well, you know, sometimes they're not as nice to your tools as you would be with your own. So, and then if you're walking in the field, you know, it easily can be carried. You know, so that's something that's cool. Or you can take a piece of mule tape, something tied around this handle, throw it around over your, kind of like a backpack style. I did do that when I had a bunch of stuff I needed to carry. I just took some mule tape, tied it on this, put it over my shoulders like this, and was, you know, walking along because I needed my hands free. But not really heavy, extremely durable. On a scale of 1 to 10, I give it a 10. I say buy it. So you're looking for a light, you're skeptical on whether this is a good guy or not, buy it. The one thing is, where you're going to have to spend the money is in the battery. Like I said, if you don't have a 60-volt flex battery and you're complaining that this light is not lasting long, it's not the light. You're too cheap and didn't buy the right battery for it.